Hi, welcome to today's analysis. Following the last video we made on Labour Party, lots of questions were asked about what exactly did Senator Nenadi Usman ask from the Supreme Court. Lots of the comments that came following that video, people kept saying the appeal of Senator Nenadi Usman was found to be meritorious, and the Supreme Court allowed the appeal. And people ask me, what did that mean? Does that not imply that Senator Nenadi Usman won the case? Does that not imply that Senator Nenadi Usman had the Supreme Court granting her all her requests? So many people ask that question. And I feel there is need to make this video to be able to clarify some issues, right? So this video simply asks the question, what did Senator Nenadi Usman ask from the Supreme Court regarding the Labour Party matter that has just been decided by the Supreme Court of Nigeria? Now, Senator Nenadi Usman raised 3 issues at the Supreme Court. Every issue that is raised in the appellate court must be supported by a ground of appeal. So, what she took to the Supreme Court was 3 grounds of appeal. And from the 3 grounds of appeal, she raised 3 issues for determination. What are those issues? Because the court will grant you your prayers based on the issues that you have raised. In fact, based on the grounds that you have raised, the grounds of appeal. So the court will not grant you beyond what you have requested from the court. You often hear that the court is not a Father Christmas. That's often said. So that means when I take a matter to the court is only granting to the extent of what I ask for. The court will not fill in the gaps for me. So the question, what did Senator Nenadi Usman ask from the Supreme Court? What is it that the Supreme Court found to be meritorious and grantable, okay, in the judgment that has been a subject of discussion across Nigeria and outside Nigeria? 3 issues. 1, and I'm quoting directly from the judgment of the Supreme Court. These are not my words. This is directly from the judgment of the Supreme Court. 1, Senator Nenadi Usman raised these issues. 3, okay? I start with 1. Having determined that the substantive claim, stroke relief in these suits, is the leadership of the Labour Party over which a court has no jurisdiction, same not being justiciable, was the Court of Appeal entitled to make any pronouncement and thereby anoint, stroke affirm, Barrister Julius Abure as the national chairman of Labour Party? That was the first issue that Senator Nenadi Usman placed before the Supreme Court. And that issue was taken from ground 1 of her notice of appeal. 2, whether the decision in appeal number 1172-2024, that is Labour Party versus Lushola Ibiseni, determined the subject of leadership, that is national chairman of Labour Party, as erroneously affirmed by the court below in its judgment. Again, underline national chairmanship. Number 3, whether the determination of the Court of Appeal that, quote, the thrust of the instant suits, that is to say, the substantive issue in this suit is the subject of the national leadership of the Labour Party, the issues arising from reliefs 1 to 4 in the originating summons, which are ancillary claims, ought to be countenanced. Okay, so ought to be countenanced and or relied upon in determining the jurisdiction of the court to entertain this suit. So she took this from ground number 3, and the second issue was taken from ground number 2. So these are the issues that Senator Nenadi Usman and the Secretary Darlington presented to the Supreme Court for determination. And the Supreme Court then said that these issues are meritorious and therefore granted all what she said. Now let's do some explanation. One, the 3 issues here all challenge one thing: the pronouncement of the Court of Appeal, which ordered INEC, and the pronouncement of the Federal High Court, which also ordered INEC and all others to deal or relate with Julius Abure. So Senator Usman said that the lower courts, that is the Court of Appeal and the Federal High Court, had no authority or jurisdiction in law to have ventured there. These 2 courts said INEC from henceforth and every other person relate with Barrister Julius Abure. Nenadi Usman went to court and said, Supreme Court, these 2 courts were wrong to have ventured into the issue of leadership, right? The Supreme Court agreed with Senator Usman. That is why the Supreme Court upheld her appeal, because the Supreme Court agreed with her. He said, yes, issue of leadership of political party is a non-justiciable issue. Courts do not have jurisdiction. It's an internal affairs of the political party. That is what Senator Usman's argument was. And the Supreme Court said, yes, you are correct. By a line of decided authorities, you are correct. Issues of leadership of political party is within the internal jurisdiction of the party, and therefore these 2 courts had no jurisdiction to have gone in, right? Now, that is why the Supreme Court upheld the appeal and dismissed, that is why the Supreme Court upheld the appeal and described it as meritorious. Meritorious. To the extent of what she asked for. That's why I know a lot of people ask questions in the other video and said, why did the court say that her appeal is meritorious? And you are saying that judgment was not given in her favor, right? The appeal court said, your appeal is meritorious. We agree with you in this argument, but to the extent of what you asked for. What did she ask for? Only these 3 issues. Set aside the recognition that was given by the court in favor of Abure. Implication number 2, did she ask that she should be declared as the new national chairman of Labour Party? Look at it. Look at 1, 2, 3. These 1, 2, 3 all talk about leadership of the political party and talks about the, in fact, she called it anointing and affirmation of Julius Abure. So she did not make mention of any of these issues to include Senator Nenadi Usman asking that she should be declared as the national chairman of Labour Party. She never asked for that. Now, she could not have asked for that. She could not. That is because this was the same thing that she criticized these 2 courts of. So she could not have gone to the Supreme Court to say, Supreme Court justices affirm me as the national chairman of Labour Party, because she was also complaining before the Supreme Court that the affirmation of Julius Abure as a national party of Labour Party, of the national chairman of Labour Party, was ultra vires the jurisdiction of courts of law. Now, as it stands now, what's the situation as it stands now? 1, 2 people are laying claim to victory from the same judgment of the Supreme Court. And from experience, once you see 2 sides laying claim to the judgment, this one says, judgment is in my favor. Another one says, judgment is in my favor. That means that all is not well. All is certainly not well with the House of Labor. Two people are claiming victory. You can see that the two of them have issued statements thanking the Supreme Court for standing on the side of justice and law. And the two of them have held congresses, also a convention, as a result of the judgment. So what does that imply? All is not well with the House of Labor at this moment. Number two, the party should resolve this internally by itself. It is the best thing to do for Labour Party to call all its members and then resolve this, call the stakeholders in their political party and resolve this internally and amicably. Three, INEC is needed here. That's my take. Because Abure is saying, there was a convention that made me the national chairman. The other party, the other side, they are saying there was no such convention. If you held anything like that, it was illegal. So what do you do now? By law, INEC is expected to monitor conventions of all political parties. So it is now left for INEC to come out openly and make a statement and say, we monitor this convention. And for that reason, Julius Abure is the person recognized by us as the national chairman of Labour Party. Or INEC comes out to say, we did not monitor this convention that Julius Abure is talking about. To that extent, Julius Abure is not the national chairman of Labour Party, and that will go a long way. A public statement by INEC now will go a long way to assist Labour Party in knowing who truly is the chairman of Labour Party as of today. What's your take about this? Do you think that Senator Nenadi Usman should have asked for more, other than these three? These three are directly from the judgment. You see it in page 8 of the judgment. Do you think she would have asked for more? Or do you agree that there is no way she could have asked for more? She could not have asked to be declared winner, the national chairman, when that is the same thing that she was kicking against in these three issues. But what's your take? Some of the viewers are lawyers. Others are not lawyers, but they are very conversant with activities of political parties. Others are just educated Nigerian citizens watching and also making their comments. What's your comment? What's your suggestion for Labour Party? Moving forward, what do you think they should do? Drop your comment in the comment section so that together we can also learn from you. If you are yet to subscribe to this channel, do well to subscribe so that together we can have a bigger community where we sit down together to learn law in the informal way. Many thanks.